Vicky has as many brothers as sisters, but each of her brothers has only half as many brothers as sisters. How many brothers and sisters are there in Vicky's family? The correct answer is 4 sisters and 3 brothers. The key to solving this is to keep it simple. Just count the sisters and brothers in total and in terms of their own number of siblings. Vicky is a music teacher. One day, she came over to her student's house to give him a lesson. The door was unlocked, so Vicky got in. Her student, Mr. Green, was lying on the couch with the flu. He was very weak, and Vicky decided to call the 3 best doctors in this town. Since Mr. Green was really rich and influential, many people wanted to get rid of him. That's why his bodyguards had to search the doctors before they began any treatment. It turned out that one of the doctors was a criminal. Can you tell which one? This guy. Why does he need an axe? Mr. Green got well and returned to his business duties. He runs a small company producing expensive diamond rings. On Friday, when the working week was finally over, he got a call from his bank. Mr. Green found out that someone had stolen all the money he had. He suspected that it might have been one of his employees, so he asked each of them what they'd been doing that day. Helen, the jeweler, said she always made 2 rings a day and showed all the rings she had made that week. Jesse, the sales manager, said that he had been busy meeting with the clients. And Amber, the cleaner, said that she'd been cleaning the office every day as usual, and she didn't notice anything suspicious. Who lied? Helen. There are 5 working days in a regular week. She said she made 2 rings a day, but she only showed 8 rings. It means she missed 1 day of work. Vicky was walking down a shopping mall. Suddenly, she heard screams. Looking outside the window and saw 2 women in big trouble. Can you tell who has more chances to survive? Look at this lady's hand. It's made of metal. She's a robot, so she'll more likely survive this adventure. One morning, Vicky was walking in the park and noticed this missing cat poster. Can you help her find the cat in this area? It's hiding in this old lady's bag. Vicky explained to the old lady that the cat had been missing, but the old lady refused to give the cat away so easily. First of all, Vicky had to solve her riddle. I can whistle, I can howl, I can scream, and I can whisper, but I don't speak. What am I? Can you help Vicky? The correct answer is wind. After getting the cat, Vicky headed to its owner's home. She walked through this beautiful park. Can you spot what's wrong here? This bench doesn't have legs. It's literally flying in the air. Vicky brought the cat to its owner, Diana. She was very glad to get her pet back and invited Vicky for dinner. Vicky was very hungry and agreed. Diana served these 4 dishes with various foods, but only one of them is safe to eat. Can you tell which one? The coconut cake is sprinkled with some human nails. If you look closely at this tomato soup, you'll notice some metal nails. Something's moving inside this burger, so this pasta is the only edible dish here. After dinner, Diana made a confession. She was a real witch, but Vicky didn't believe in magic at all. That's why Diana offered her this deal.
If you solve my riddle, I'm gonna use some magic to fulfill your biggest wish. I'm beautiful, up in the sky, I'm magical, yet I cannot fly. To some people, I bring luck. To some people, wealth. What am I?
Can you help Vicky out? The correct answer is rainbow. Vicky has always wanted to become a famous singer. She received an invitation to a singing contest. Vicky sang beautifully and won first place. After the performance, she drank a glass of water backstage. After that, Vicky felt very sick. The contest manager called the ambulance. Doctors said that someone had poisoned Vicky. The police questioned 3 suspects and searched their bags. Lily said, "I was crying in the dressing room. This contest meant so much to me." Jessica said, "Who do you think I am? Singers should stand for each other." And Rose said, "I was outside the music hall with Lily. She was crying because she had lost this competition." Who poisoned Vicky? Lily said she was in the dressing room, while Rose said that they had been outdoors. Therefore, 1 or 2 of them are liars. But only Rose carries toothpaste but no toothbrush in her bag. That's pretty suspicious. When Vicky got better, she checked her mailbox and saw 3 messages from different music producers. Tom offered her a tour in Europe. Ryan offered Vicky to work on her first album at his record company in New York. And Joanna sent this invitation to participate in a TV show. But only one of these offers is real. Can you help Vicky make the right choice? Joanna's message is spam. She doesn't mention Vicky's name anywhere, and the text includes a suspicious link. Ryan sent Vicky a picture of his record company. But there are palm trees and a tropical forest outside the window. It's clearly not in New York. So, Vicky should pick Tom. Vicky was walking home from a rehearsal and stepped on a magical portal. She fainted and woke up in an enchanted forest. Suddenly, a wicked witch popped out of nowhere and gave Vicky a choice.
If you solve my riddle, I'll let you go. And if not, you'll get lost in this forest forever.
Here's the riddle. I can be flipped and broken, but I never move. I can be closed and opened, and sometimes removed. You can seal me with your hands. What am I? Unfortunately, Vicky failed to crack this riddle. And what about you? The correct answer is a deal. The wicked witch left Vicky alone in the forest. Vicky searched the area and found 3 paths leading to the nearest village. The first path goes through hungry wolves. Giant mutant plants are waiting in the second path. They eat all mammals, including human beings. And the third path is covered with a bunch of bugs and worms. Which way should Vicky go? Although insects are gross, they are the least harmful to humans, so Vicky should choose this path. Vicky got very hungry and decided to find some food in the village. When she came closer, she realized the gates were locked. Can you help her guess the right code? Take a look at the screen. It requires a 4-digit code. Someone decorated the gates with this symbol. It's a hint. If we divide this symbol into 4 parts, we will see that it's made up of 4 2s. So, Vicky should enter 2222 and come in. When Vicky entered the village, an angry pixie stopped her and said,
Not so fast, lady. You gotta solve one riddle first. What should you do when you see a green man?
Vicky cracked this puzzle right away. What about you? You should cross the road. Vicky solved it so easily because she was standing next to a traffic light. It turned out it wasn't an ordinary village. Various magical creatures lived here together. Vicky entered the local club and asked for some food. But the owner, Werewolf Fred, said, "If you want to eat, you gotta work." Now Vicky's job is to check the guests' ID cards. She shouldn't let suspicious persons or those under 21 get inside. Take a look at these 3 ID cards and figure out who shouldn't enter the club. The first one, Vampire, is already 21, and nothing looks suspicious in his ID, so Vicky should let him in. And this werewolf lady seems alright too. This elf's ID card says he was born on September 31st, but such a date doesn't exist. Therefore, Vicky shouldn't let the elf in. After work, Vicky went to the local supermarket to buy some food. She saw 2 attractive young ladies eating street food there. Can you tell which one of them isn't human? Take a closer look at this ice cream. Raw meat? This lady is definitely a werewolf. Vicky liked this village and decided to stay there. She met the love of her life, and 2 years later, they got engaged. Today is her wedding day. Can you guess who her husband is? It's the third guy. He's wearing a tie, which means he attended the wedding, and he's wearing a ring too.
3 friends, Jim, Alex, and Chris, pick hats from a box. In the box, there are 2 black hats and 1 white hat. Jim sees the hats on Alex and Chris. Alex only sees Chris's hat, and Chris can't see any hats. When asked if they know the colors of their hats, Jim and Alex both say no. Chris confidently says that he knows his hat is black. How has he figured it out? Here's how it works. Jim's no means there's at least 1 black hat between Alex and Chris. Alex says no too, indicating that he sees a black hat on Chris. If it was white, Alex would know he's wearing the black since there's only 1 white hat. So Chris is sure that his hat is black. No magic or tricks, just logic. Detective Sue finds herself entangled in a case involving the theft of precious diamonds from a vault fortified with high security measures. The list of suspects is diverse. There's a janitor, a security guard, even the CEO. Who is the thief? The thief is the janitor. Even in a high-security vault, the diamonds should still remain dust-free. The janitor's role involves cleaning them, so he had access to the jewels. On a chilly, wintry day, a figure stood in the center of someone's front yard. This individual remained in place for several weeks without any movement, and the yard's owner didn't mind it. Eventually, this person was gone. Who was he? It was a snowman. Meet Vampire Vlad. He invites his close nocturnal friends for a one-of-a-kind dinner gathering. Interestingly, the dinner party takes place during the daytime. All of his vampire companions accept the invitation without questioning it, and they arrive without encountering any problems. How on earth is this possible? Well, it turns out Vlad is the master of planning. He chose to host his vampire friends during a solar eclipse. Vampire Vlad has another story to puzzle you. One day, he found himself on a remote island. There seemed to be no humans there. To his relief, he stumbled upon a thriving garden filled with garlic. Vlad smiled with contentment. Garlic is dangerous for vampires. Then why did he laugh? That garlic garden implied the presence of a skilled gardener on the island. There was a human somewhere around. This discovery kindled Vlad's hope of a future food source. Here's the last one of the vampire-themed puzzles. In a quaint village, 3 individuals cast shadows, but one claims to be a vampire. The townsfolk wonder which of these 3 is the true vampire. Well, who is the vampire? The vampire is the one whose shadow behaves weirdly. While regular human shadows mimic people's movements, the vampire's shadow moves independently. Look, the human shadows synchronize with their steps, but the vampire shadow has a mind of its own. Steve met a tragic fate on a Saturday afternoon. His wife claims she was in the shower at that time. The chef says he was making breakfast, and the gardener was busy pruning hedges. Who is the likely criminal? It's the chef.
Uh-oh.
The whole thing happened in the afternoon, but the chef said that he had been making breakfast. At a carnival, a boy made a bet with a man. The man said he could write the boy's exact weight on a piece of paper. If he succeeded, the boy would give him $50. If not, the boy would get $50. The boy thought he could always say he weighed more or less, so he agreed. However, in the end, the boy had to pay the man $50. How did the man win? The man wrote your exact weight on the paper, and that was exactly what he said he would do. A person finds themselves confined in a room with 2 possible escape routes. The initial exit is an arrangement of magnifying glasses that scorch anything passing through, because the sun is scorching. The second exit is guarded by a fire-spewing dragon, which is merciless to intruders. How can the captive make their escape? They should wait until nightfall when the sun is down and then make a dash through the first exit. A criminal has been sentenced to face a fatal fate, and he is given a choice to meet his end in one of 3 rooms: a room engulfed in a blazing fire, a room occupied by assassins, or a room inhabited by lions that haven't eaten a meal in years. Which room should he select? He should opt for the room with the lions. If they haven't eaten in years, they aren't alive anymore. Once, a magician bragged about being able to hold his breath underwater for 6 minutes. A kid overheard this and exclaimed, "And I can do 10 minutes with no gear." The magician bet $10,000. Oddly, the kid won. Do you know how? She was just holding a glass of water above her head for 10 minutes. A monkey, a squirrel, and a bird are having a race to the tip of a ginormous coconut tree, all of them eyeing a delicious banana at the top. Who's going to be the lucky winner here? The monkey, the squirrel, or the bird? Oh please, the answer is none of them, because bananas don't grow on coconut trees. There are 5 apples in a basket and 5 people in the room. Each person takes 1 apple. Yet in the end, 1 apple is left in the basket. How come? The last person took an apple together with the basket. There's a person who lives on the 14th floor of a building. When they take the elevator downstairs, they stop at the 1st floor. When they go upstairs, they only go to the 10th floor. And after that, they use the stairs the rest of the way. But here's the twist. When they're in the elevator with someone else, or when it's raining, they go straight to the 14th floor. So what's the deal with this weird behavior? This person is a child. They can't reach the 14th floor button. When it's raining, this kid has an umbrella and can use it to press the button. And when they're with someone else, this other person can press the button for them. A driver goes the wrong way on a one-way street, but when he passes a few cops, they don't stop him. Why? Because he's walking, not driving. 2 fathers and 2 sons go to the mall and then return home in a car. However, when they get out of the car at home, only 3 people exit. How is it possible? Did they forget someone at the mall? Well, it's because we've got 3 generations here: a grandfather, a father, and a son. So even though there are 2 fathers and 2 sons, there are only 3 individuals. A couple went on a 3-week-long vacation, taking great care to secure their home and asking a neighbor to look after it during their absence. Upon their return, the wife discovered that her valuable jewelry was gone. How did it happen? She had hidden her precious jewelry inside the freezer in a bag with frozen food. But during their absence, there was a power outage. The frozen food went bad, and the neighbor, trying to be helpful, threw away the spoiled food. Bye-bye, jewelry. Imagine finding yourself in a pitch-black room. You have just a matchbox, a candle, and a lamp. You have only 1 match. The question is, what should you light first? Easy peasy. You light the match first. Think of an 8-letter word that remains a valid word even when you remove 1 letter at a time until only 1 letter is left. It's almost impossible to guess, but give it a try. The word is starting. You can take away letters one by one like this: starting, staring, string, sting, sing, sin, in, and finally I. Did you find those tough? Let me know in the comments.
Bella and Shelley are sisters and best friends. One weekend, their parents went on vacation. Before leaving, They strictly forbade Bella and Shelley to have parties in the house. But the sisters didn't listen and invited all their friends as soon as their parents left. After the party, the entire house was a mess. So, Bella and Shelley hired a cleaning lady to get rid of any evidence of the party. When their parents arrived home, their mother, Jessica, began to yell, "I told you, no parties in this house!" How did she know? The house is too clean. There was dust on this glass vase when the parents left, but now it's fresh and clean. Jessica asked Bella and Shelley to mow the backyard lawn. None of the sisters wanted to do this annoying task. So, Shelley offered an easy way out. She put 2 cards in a hat and said, "I wrote mow on the first card and chill on the second. Pull a card and choose your destiny." Bella wasn't so naive. She suspected that Shelley was cheating and put both cards with mow written on them. But no one would believe her if she just tried to expose Shelley. And no one would look at the other card once her fate was decided. What should she do? When asked to draw a card, Bella should pick any and destroy the paper without looking at it. In this case, to decide her fate, they'll have to look at the other card, which also says mow. And this will mean that Shelley should mow the lawn. Over a cup of tea, Bella bet Shelley $10 that she could convert her $50 into $100. Do you think Shelley should accept the bet? There's no logical reason behind accepting it. If Bella isn't able to convert the money, she'll lose the bet. But she has only $10 to lose. Meanwhile, Shelley is supposed to be giving her $50 from her wallet. Thus, even if Shelley wins the bet, she'll still lose $40. Bella and Shelley have a certain number of candies. If Bella gives 1 candy to Shelley, they'll have an equal number of candies. But if Shelley gives 1 candy to Bella, then Shelley will be left with half the number of candies that Bella has. Can you find out the number of candies they have right now? Let's use some math to figure it out. Right now, Shelley has X candies and Bella has Z candies. Now we can sum it up in these equations. X plus 1 equals Z minus 1. Therefore, Z minus X equals 2. Also, X minus 1 equals Z plus 1 divided by 2. Now we know that 2X minus Z equals 3. So, if we equate these two conclusions, we'll get the following. X plus 2 equals 2X minus 3. Now we know that X equals 5 and Z equals 7. Therefore, Shelley has 5 candies and Bella has 7 candies. Shelley was doing laundry and found out that her favorite t-shirt got torn. Can you count the exact number of holes in her t-shirt? The answer is not 3 or 6, which most people must be guessing. The correct number of holes is 10. 1 hole for the neck, 2 holes for the arms, 1 hole for the torso, 3 holes in the front, and 3 holes in the back. Bella went to the basement to find her old books. Suddenly, the bulb burned out. Bella took the new bulb to replace it, but the wires are very tangled. Can you find the correct switch that will turn on the bulb? It's the red switch. The best way to get the answer is to start from the bulb. It's been a long day. Bella finally went to sleep. But when she saw her bedroom, she yelled and ran away. Can you tell what's wrong here? Did you notice this zombie? Bella ran to the living room and shut the door. Is she safe here? Nope. Take a look at the mirror. Some stranger is inside the room. Bella and Shelley went hiking with their friends. 4 of them went into a completely empty lake. And then 8 people came out. How is this possible? Four people were sitting on the shoulders of the other 4 when they were getting inside the lake. The guys made a stop to have a picnic. They began to play football. During their play, Bella's boyfriend, Rob, busted his lips and ears and broke a couple of ribs and thighs. However, he still managed to play a professional match the very next day. How can this be possible? Rob knocked on his food plate accidentally while playing. He had pig lips, ears, and ribs, along with chicken thighs. When he knocked on his plate, he busted his food. On the way home, the guys went through a field. They saw a cow. It walked 30 feet north, 30 feet east, 30 feet south, and finally walked 30 feet west. All this time, where was its tail pointing? Can you solve this mystery? Downwards, of course. The guys rented 4 scooters in 4 different places and hit the road. They agreed to meet in a cafe at the gas station. Here's the map. Can you tell which scooter will reach the destination first? The third one. Bella and Shelley were trying to get the perfect gift for their father's birthday. Finally, they found this beautiful vintage watch, but they couldn't afford it. The seller offered them a deal. "Solve my riddle, and I'll make a 90% discount." The sisters agreed. The seller took out a $50 bill and asked, "What's the easiest way to double my money?" Can you help them solve this mystery? They should put the bill in front of a mirror. The sisters decided to have lunch in a cozy little cafe. The cook offered them tomato soup, mushroom salad, chicken wings, octopus, and mushroom pizza. Can you help them choose the safest food? There are mirror shards in these chicken wings. Probably not the healthiest option. I'm pretty sure those mushrooms are poisonous too. This octopus is still alive, and this soup must be several weeks old. So, Bella and Shelley should choose the mushroom pizza. After lunch, the local barista offered the sisters free coffee if they managed to solve his tricky riddle. Here's the task. Name a 10-letter word in English that can be typed using only the top rows of your computer keyboard. Can you help the ladies get their free coffee? And the correct answer is typewriter. Great job! Shelley got a job at a restaurant. One night, a cook, a cobbler, and a doctor went to dinner together and asked Shelley to split the bill equally among them. When the bill arrived, it was for 4 people. How can this be possible? The 4th person was the knight. It was just misspelled as night. Shelley and Bella were walking down the street. Suddenly, they saw this creepy shadow. Can you guess what's going on here? Should they be worried? Nope. It's Halloween. The guy is just walking around and scaring people in his witch costume. See? He's wearing sneakers. Shelley and Bella saw this mysterious magic shop sign and decided to go get some tarot readings. As soon as they entered the shop, a wicked witch locked the door and said, "I will make your biggest dreams come true if you crack my code. But if you fail, you'll stay here forever." Then she gave them the following clues. A. 981. One number is perfectly placed. B. 924. Everything is incorrect. C. 093. Two numbers are part of the code, but are in the wrong places. D. 147. One number is part of the code, but is in the wrong place. E. 783. One number is part of the code, but is in the wrong place. Can you help Shelley and Bella? From clues A and B, we learned that 9 is not in the code. It also means that 8 or 1 is in the code for sure. According to clue B, we know that 9, 2, and 4 are not in the code. From clue C, we know that 0 and 3 are in the final code. Clue E tells us that 7 and 8 are not in the final code because we already know that 3 is. And clue D tells us that 1 is also in the code because 4 and 7 are not. So, the correct code is 301. The witch has fulfilled Shelley and Bella's wishes. They wanted to thank her and decided to prepare her favorite drink from a recipe book. Unfortunately, the last ingredient was encrypted. Can you help them crack the code? They should add a tear of a Triton. After visiting the witch, Shelley met a handsome guy, Tom. They had a perfect date. Shelley couldn't believe that he was real. She thought it was an illusion created by the witch's spell. So she decided to test the guy's logical skills. She showed him this list and asked just one question. What do these words have in common? Can you help Tom? If we remove the first letter of each word and place it in the end, you'll be able to read the same word from the beginning and the end. Can you figure out the next number in this sequence? It's 2. To make the puzzle seem harder, all digits are placed apart. In fact, the sequence consists of 2 different sequences. The first one is 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. And the second sequence is 9, 18, 36, 72, and so on. Now it's obvious that the next digit should be 2.
Susan found out that her favorite pop band was playing a private concert for VIP clients in a luxurious club. She decided to sneak inside through the back door. But, unfortunately, Susan came across a strict guard behind the door. He refused to let Susan inside without a password. But, luckily for her, there was a hint on the guard's t-shirt. The hint was 2 infinity plus BD. Susan deciphered the hint and was allowed to enter. Can you guess what the password was? It was to infinity and beyond. After the concert, Susan met up with her friend Bobby. Bobby was an expert in ghost activity. He invited Susan to go ghost hunting to a creepy old hotel. Of course, Bobby had state-of-the-art equipment. Once they arrived at the hotel, his equipment indicated there was strong paranormal activity going on. It looked like the ghost had a sense of humor and wanted to play hide-and-seek with them before it revealed itself. It led Bobby and Susan into a room with 4 doors. Each door had an inscription on it with some clues. The sign on door A said, "It's behind B or C." The sign on door B claimed, "It's behind A or D." Door C said, "It's in here." And door D stated, "The ghost isn't here." Bobby and Susan looked very confused until a note appeared next to their feet. It said, 3 of the inscriptions are false and 1 is true. Can you guess which door leads to the ghost? Let's see how this works. If the ghost was behind door A, then both statements B and D would be true. If it was behind door B, then both A and D would be true. If the ghost was behind door C, then A, C, and D would be all true. But if the ghost was behind door D, then the statements on all the doors would be false, except for that on door B. This fits the rules, so the ghost must be behind door D. The next morning, Bobby called Susan again, saying that he had a surprise. He had won 2 tickets to Susan's favorite theme park and asked her if she wanted to go. Before she answered, though, Bobby warned her that she had to crack a very difficult riddle. Only then would he give her a ticket. She agreed. For a school challenge, 100 students received a number between 1 and 100. Each student was instructed to go inside a classroom that had exactly 100 boxes randomly numbered from 1 to 100. Inside each box, there was a slip of paper with a random number between 1 and 100 on it. Now, each student needed to enter the classroom on their own and find the box that contained the slip of paper with their number on it. But in order to do so, each of them was only allowed to open a maximum of 50 boxes. They were instructed to leave the room exactly as they found it, and they weren't allowed to communicate with other students once they'd left the room. If all of the students managed to find their numbers inside the boxes, they would each get $100. But if one of them wasn't able to find their number, none of them would be able to win the prize. Bobby asked Susan if she knew the best strategy for all of the students to find their numbers and win the prize. After a few hours, Susan called Bobby with the answer. She managed to figure out the riddle. Can you guess what she answered? This riddle isn't obvious, but let's see how it works. If each student searched for their numbers randomly, they would each have a 50% chance of finding the box with their number inside. This is because there were 100 boxes and they were allowed to look inside 50 of them. However, the probability of all of them finding their own number following this random strategy is absurdly small. So, to increase their chances of collectively finding their numbers, they would need a better approach. The students could use something called the loop strategy. After entering the classroom, they should go directly toward the box that has their number on top of it. The number inside probably won't be their number, but that's okay. They should check the number inside the box and go look for the box with that same number on top of it, and so on and so forth. They should keep doing this until they find the paper with their number on it. This strategy means there's more than a 30% chance of the students finding their numbers and winning the prize. It's not a huge probability, but hey, at least they'll have fun trying to figure it out. One afternoon, Susan found her father, Frank, in the living room. Frank was a private investigator and he had just received a message revealing the address of the town's most dangerous criminal, Dirty Jack. He decided to go check the area, even though he didn't know what the criminal looked like. The address turned out to be an old warehouse. When he busted inside, he found 4 people sitting at a table. They were a carpenter, a truck driver, a mechanic, and a firefighter. Without any hesitation, Frank arrested the firefighter. How did he know it was the criminal? The firefighter was the only man in the room. The rest of the people were women. Bobby and Susan decided to go grab a cup of coffee. But when their orders arrived, Bobby's drink came with a fly in it. He called the waiter and asked him to change his cup. The waiter brought him another cup of coffee, but 2 seconds later, Bobby called the waiter again and said, "Hey, that's the same cup." How did he know? Because Bobby had already put sugar in his coffee. And when he tasted the new drink, it already had sugar in it. Susan and her family went on vacation to their country house, but unfortunately, it was raining heavily. It kept raining for 13 days. When it rained in the morning, the afternoon was beautiful and clear. And when it rained in the afternoon, the next day was blessed with a clear, sunny morning. Overall, Susan's family experienced 11 nice mornings and 12 nice afternoons. Can you find out the total number of days they spent in the country house? The total number is 18 days. Here's how you can figure it out. Let's call clear afternoons X, clear mornings Y, and periods of time with no rain O. This equation represents the number of days with rain, X plus Y equals 13. And here are the days with clear mornings, Y plus O equals 11. And this equation represents the days with clear afternoons, X plus O equals 12. If we solve these three equations, we'll learn that X equals 7, Y equals 6, and O equals 5. So the total number of days is 18. Bobby started his morning by jogging in the park near his house. When he returned, he got to know some very unpleasant news. Someone had stolen his car. He questioned 3 of his neighbors. Henry said, "I've been playing video games for the past 12 hours and haven't left my basement." Rosie said, "I'm a gardener. I've been planting daisies in the public area all morning, and I think I saw a suspicious man who opened the car using a knife." Jack said, "I saw your car when I went out for groceries, but when I returned home, it was gone." Who's lying? Rosie. She said she planted daisies, but look! There are only rose bushes in this area. One day, Susan found a box on her desk with a note that read, "What can run but never walks, has a mouth but never speaks, has a head but never weeps, has a bed but never sleeps." Can you decipher this riddle? The correct answer is a river.
5 people wake up in a huge hall. None of them remember who they are or how they got here. They see a giant closed door. The people look around the room and notice something strange. What is it? These statuettes. They are hidden all over the room. There are 5 people in the room, but they find 6 statuettes.
This must be the key.
One man says.
We need to find out which of the statuettes is the odd one.
Can you guess which one? This one. Its eyes are different from those of the others. The people try to use the odd statuette as a key.
Come on!
And it works! The door opens, and everyone enters the next room. But when the man who suggested using the statuettes looks around, he sees that he is alone in there. Suddenly, a ghost of a woman appears in front of him. "If you want to get out, each of you must solve my riddles," she says. "But you will definitely fail." She disappears. The man looks around the room. He finds a strange symbol and a cipher decoder on the table. Can you find 9 other symbols? These are all 10 symbols. The man begins to unravel the message using a decoder. Can you decipher it? It says page 52. The man opens the book lying on the table. On page 52, there's a riddle written in an ancient language. If you have me, you want to share me. If you share me, you haven't got me. What am I? The man immediately guesses the answer. Can you? It's a secret. The man is surprised that he was able to read the riddle written in an ancient language. The answer is the password to the door. He types it in and the door opens. Suddenly, he remembers. His name is Thomas. He's a linguist and a cryptographer. Meanwhile, in another room, a young man finds himself in a beautiful place full of plants. There are 3 flowers on the table. They giggle maliciously. The sign in front of them reads, "Lying Flowers." The first flower says, "You'll never get out of here, and you'll never get rid of us. Just give up already." The second one says,
I don't remember how you can get rid of us. It was either cutting or uprooting us.
The third one says,
Uprooting and plucking us are both proper ways.
what should the guy do? Cut the flowers, uproot them, or pluck them? Pluck is the correct answer. These flowers only tell lies, so the conclusions we can draw from their words are these. 1. There is a way to get rid of them. 2. It is neither cutting nor uprooting. 3. And there's only one way to remove them. The only thing that remains is plucking. The guy plucks the flowers. He notices that glowing letters appear on their petals. The letters need to be put together to get the answer. What is it? The word is basket. The guy examines the basket and finds a folded note at the bottom. He unfolds it and reads this riddle. In a pond, there are some flowers with bees hovering over them. How many flowers and bees are there if both of the following statements are true? 1. If each bee lands on a flower, one bee won't get a flower. 2. If every 2 bees share a flower, there is 1 extra flower. Can you help the guy crack this riddle? There are 4 bees and 3 flowers. Suddenly, a sunflower bud appears on the table. The guy uses it as a key to the door, and it opens. And then he remembers. His name is John, and he's a gardener. In another room, a girl finds herself surrounded by beautiful crystals and gemstones. On the wall, there's a board with the names and pictures of different gems. Some of the gems are the answers to these riddles. 1. Did you know that the queens and the kings of all times really enjoyed that pretty purple color of mine? 2. My name is like water. I'm as blue as the sea. Can you guess what I am and which picture is me? 3. Hey, I am from water as well. I'm seen in strings and found inside a shell. 4. You know me so well. Come on, be excited. I created the city where a wizard resided. 5. I sound like danger, but please don't be scared. I'm striped like a cat and named after its stare. Can you match the riddles and the gems? The correct answers are 1. Amethyst, 2. Aquamarine, 3. Pearl, 4. Emerald, and 5. Tiger's eye. The girl hears some noise and notices that the box on the table has opened. She comes up to the box and reads the next riddle. The queen went to the king to complain about her lady-in-waiting. In the morning, the queen put her amethyst necklace in a jewelry box to protect it from sunlight. No wonder, this stone tends to fade in the sun. She spent the day in the library reading books. At one point, she looked out of the window and noticed her lady-in-waiting. She was sitting in the garden, wearing the queen's necklace. The lady-in-waiting began crying and said this was not true. She would never steal from the queen. The king opened the jewelry box and found out that the necklace was still inside. Who is lying? The girl soon realizes that the lady-in-waiting is the liar. Have you noticed that the amethyst is now much dimmer than before? That means that the lady-in-waiting really wore the necklace outside. The girl solves the riddle. 3 gemstones appear at the bottom of the jewelry box: citrine, garnet, and alexandrite. There's also a note that says, "Figure out the weight of each stone without using scales. This riddle will help you." Can you figure out the weight of each stone? The citrine weighs 10 ounces, the garnet weighs 4 ounces, and the alexandrite weighs 2 ounces. Suddenly, the girl remembers. Her name is Melissa. She is a jeweler and collects crystals. In another room, a woman finds 6 glasses on the table. 3 of them are empty, and 3 are full of water. The woman sees a note. Move only 1 glass to make a row of alternately full and empty glasses. How can she do it? She should take the 5th glass and pour the water into the second one. Suddenly, the glasses disappear. Instead, 2 sets of different ingredients and a note appear on the table. The note says, "Find 3 differences." Can you spot all of them? These are the differences. The woman takes the ingredients and throws them into a cauldron, but something is missing. Shiny and beautiful, a werewolf's fear. We need to get more of it for our precious queen. Coins and mirrors, trays and tea sets, the nobles were buying while falling in debts. It's silver. The woman adds some silver and gets a potion that can melt the lock. When she opens the door, she remembers. Her name is Lauren, and she's a chemist. An elderly woman finds herself in this room. She spots 4 photos on the table. All the photos seem to be taken in different periods of time. The note says, "Is there a person who is present in every photo?" Can you help the woman figure it out? Here she is. Despite the signs of aging, you can see that this is the same woman. Look, she has this mole above her lip. A mirror appears in front of the elderly woman. Wait, is that her? The woman from the photos? The mirror shows her with a guy in a suit. He looks confused. There's a maid on the left and a bride on the right. "Don't listen to her. I'm your wife," says the bride. "You're lying. I'm his wife," the maid cries. Can you guess who is lying? The girl on the left is his wife because she has a wedding ring on her finger. Wait, she also has the same mole above her lip. Is this our elderly woman when she was young? The letters appear in the mirror. IVTCBOE. What does that mean? I'll give you a hint. Try to think outside the box. It's husband. Each letter in this word is replaced by the next letter in the alphabet. And suddenly, the woman remembers. Her name is Brienne. She's a witch, and this is her castle. Brienne opens the door. Everyone else has already gathered outside. "I'm your mother," she says. "We know," Thomas replies. "Another witch tried to steal our father. She erased our memories and put a spell on him. I deciphered the recipe for the potion that can help him remember, but I'll need your help." There is a large cauldron in the hall. Everyone uses their knowledge to prepare the potion. Now Brienne must cast a spell. Solve the puzzle to find out the magic word. It's Memoria. The potion is ready. Suddenly, 3 doors appear in front of the family. Behind the first door, there's a hot desert, but there are some fruits on the trees growing there. The second door opens to the middle of the sea. Behind the third door, there's an endless forest. What should the family do? They should use the trees to make a raft and pick up the fruits so that they don't starve. Now they can cross the sea. Meanwhile, Brienne uses a spell to chain the witch. Solve another puzzle to learn the spell she uses. It's Sigillum. Now the witch won't bother them anymore. The family leaves the castle and lives happily ever after.
Who is wanted? The girl on the right. She has the same mole as the girl on the poster. Who is an identity thief? It's the man on the right. His real ID is sticking out of his backpack, which means he must be showing a fake ID. Who is an imposter? The girl on the left. The script she's reading is turned upside down. It means she only pretends to be an actress. Who is the real thief? Both of these men are thieves. While one man is distracting the girl, the other is preparing to steal her phone. The last will of Mr. Wilson, a rich businessman, got stolen. There were 5 people in the house at that moment: Mr. Wilson's wife, their cook, butler, maid, and gardener. They all told the detective what they'd been doing that evening. Mrs. Wilson was sitting by the fireplace embroidering. The cook was making breakfast. The butler was supervising several workers in the living room. The maid was sweeping the floors in the hallway. The gardener was watering the plants in the greenhouse. Right after this conversation, the detective arrested the thief. Who is the culprit? And how'd the detective figure it out? The cook is the thief. He said he'd been preparing breakfast, but the crime happened in the evening. Lily owned a flower store. One day, she got a call from the police. They told her that her shop had been robbed. When she arrived, shards of glass were on the ground near the store, and the pots and plants inside were broken. The police questioned 3 suspects. Jacob, Lily's ex, said, "I was in a hurry and didn't notice that the windows were broken when I was passing by the store. I only realized what had happened when the police called me." Camille, Lily's friend, said,
Lily asked me to help her with something in the store. When I arrived, everything had already been broken. I called the police immediately.
Matt, Lily's ex-coworker, said,
I was walking nearby and I saw someone breaking a window and sneaking into the shop. I left my phone at home, so I ran to the police station.
Can you guess who's lying? Matt is lying. Shards of glass were laying on the ground, which meant that the criminal had to break the window from the inside. Let's take a little break. Now, you need to think fast. Mary's mom has 4 daughters. One daughter is called April, the second is named May, and the third daughter is June. What's the 4th daughter's name? It's Mary, of course. Who doesn't belong to this list? Napoleon Bonaparte, Queen Elizabeth, William Shakespeare, Sherlock Holmes, Aristotle, Christopher Columbus, Donald Trump. Sherlock Holmes. He's the only fictional character on the list. 8 girls are in the house, and each of them is busy with something. The first one is cooking dinner. The second one is lighting the fireplace. The third girl is playing chess. The fourth one is reading a book.
The fifth girl is drawing a picture. The sixth is cleaning up the house. The seventh girl is watering the plants. What is the eighth girl doing? She's playing chess with the third girl. One woman turned 40 in 1850, but in 1860 she was 30 years old. How could this happen? This could only happen if 1860 was earlier than 1850, which means that the woman turned 40 in 1850 BCE and 30 in 1860 BCE. An artist was walking in the park when it suddenly started raining. He had neither a hat nor an umbrella to cover his head. He also couldn't hide under a tree because the downpour was too heavy, and still, not a single hair on his head got wet. How can that happen? The artist was bald. Now let's get back to our detective riddles. Robert won $1 million in the lottery. He decided not to tell anyone about this, including his wife. At home, he put his money in a safe hidden behind a painting. The next day, the money disappeared. The police invited all the suspects for questioning. Emily, Robert's wife, said, "In the morning, I went to my husband's home to clean up there. The safe was open and there was nothing inside." James, Robert's business partner, said, "Poor Robert, he always wanted to win a lottery. I stayed at home all day and yesterday and watched TV." And Mark, Robert's friend, said, "I was at the gym last night, then I went home. I can't imagine why anyone would do this." The police arrested the thief. Can you guess who it was? Robert's business partner did this. Robert didn't tell anyone that he'd won the lottery. His wife noticed an empty safe when she entered the office, but she didn't know what was inside. Marina was participating in a figure skating championship. She was a very strong competitor, and many people believed she could win. When the time for a warm-up ran out, all the participants started preparing for the performance. Marina was the first. She was amazing, but suddenly she tripped, fell down, and broke her leg, which made her unable to continue. The investigation revealed that someone had ruined her skates. The police interviewed 3 suspects. Anna said, "I didn't do anything, but I saw Jacqueline and Kate walking into the locker room before Marina's performance. They're the ones who ruined her skates." Jacqueline said, "Yes, I indeed went into the locker room to take my things, but I didn't see Kate there." And Kate said, "Yeah, that's because I've been practicing in the gym until it was my turn. Besides, Anna is lying. I saw her in the locker room." Can you guess who's lying? Kate. She couldn't train in the gym because the time for the warm-up had been over by the time the competition started. Here's what happened. Kate went into the locker room and ruined Marina's skates. Jacqueline came into the locker room after her, and that's what Anna saw. Jane is afraid that she might have a stalker. She brought some photos of herself and her friends to the police. The police immediately found the culprit. Who is Jane's stalker? Jane's friend Mike. He's the only one who is present in all the photos, and sometimes he even tries to conceal his identity. The investigation didn't have enough evidence to prove the suspect was guilty. Detective Reed decided to investigate their house, hoping to find some clues. And he actually did find something. He discovered a secret room. However, it had a combination lock and the word "idea" written above it. Do you have any idea what the code might be? "9451. The code is the number of each of the letters in the alphabet. The door opened to the suspect's secret office. At first glance, there was nothing suspicious inside. a table with a book in the middle, some dusty furniture, and a picture on the wall. The detective examined the painting and found a safe with a 3-digit code behind it. Next to it, there was a note with a hint: P270L7-8. Can you guess what the detective needs to do next? The detective realized that the note meant page 270, lines 7 to 8. He should check out the book on the table. The detective found the necessary lines on page 270. They read, "After wandering through the desert for 4 days and 3 nights, I came across a couple of travelers. They fed me and gave me one of their camels." This is a clue that can help crack the code to the safe. What is it? $721. 4 days and 3 nights makes 7. A couple of travelers is 2. And don't forget about 1 camel. The detective opened the safe and found the evidence that proved that the suspect was guilty. In the middle of the night, someone stole a unique artifact from a museum. The museum guard claimed it had been a robber. Detective Ridd arrived at the crime scene immediately and questioned the guard. The man said, I was walking around the museum. Suddenly I saw a dark shadow. I called out to them, but they didn't respond. But Detective Ridd noticed that something was wrong with this story. Can you guess what it is? There are only one person's footprints on the floor. If there was the guard and the criminal in the museum, shouldn't there be 2 sets of footprints? Detective Ridd asked the guard what he did next. The man said, I ran after the thief and saw them break the glass door and steal the artifact. The alarm didn't go off, as they had probably turned it off. Is the guard telling the truth? The door is indeed broken, but it's also open. It can only be opened with a key. It looks like someone opened the door to prevent the alarm from going off, and then broke the glass to hide the traces. The detective asked the man what had happened next. The guard said, I ran up to the criminal and tried to stop them, but they sprayed something in my eyes, and I lost consciousness. When I woke up, I immediately called the police. Is he telling the truth? His eyes look totally fine. The robbery happened just a few hours ago. If the guard was telling the truth, his eyes would at least look red. He must be lying. The guard turned out to be the thief and was arrested.